This is a Thule Urban Glide, and today we're going to talk about what to do if the front wheel is loose. Now, the front wheel can really be loose in two ways. It can be loose within the fork, like this, back and forth, or the fork itself can be loose within the front locking mechanism. So we'll deal with the loose within the fork problem first, and for that you're going to need two screwdrivers, Phillips heads, very large Phillips heads, to put in on either side here of the central axle. I'm just going to want to screw it out. Until it separates, and it's this common sort of an axle, which is one part goes through and the other part acts as a plug on the opposite side. This allows you to then remove the wheel itself. So what's happening here when this is loose, the very common issue with strollers in general is that the ball bearings have gone defective. It's not the case with this stroller, but if you are having a front wheel that is loose on the fork, you're just going to have to replace the ball bearings. You can just pop them out with your screwdriver like this. It's quite easy, and it's a pretty common size, so you just find a replacement for them. Okay, I'll put it back together. Just reversing the process, slotting that axle back through, and the head on the other side, and then I'm going to screw it all together again. Okay, in relation to the fork being loose in the front wheel swivel mechanism, you're going to need to turn your stroller up on end. So you can get at 4 screws here, 2 on one side and 2 on the other, and you will need a smaller Phillips head for these. Okay, doing the other side. It's a bit difficult to get at those inner ones. You just have to turn the wheel at an angle. Okay. So once you've removed those 4 screws, you can now take off the top panel. And what is holding the fork in place is this lock washer here. So you'll need a pair of needle nose pliers. You just insert the tips into those little holes and separate the tips, and then you can pull out the axle of the fork. So I'm going to pull it out. So now what is holding this fork tightly in are these 2 plastic pieces, one on the top here and one on the bottom. And what is unfortunately occurring when this gets loose is that this plastic piece is widening over time. You can see that it's a bit loose here. That's just going to be a natural occurrence. They actually should have used something a bit tighter in this case. In general, they're a good brand, but that certainly should have perhaps been metal or been a bit tighter. So if this is the problem on your stroller, what you're going to actually unfortunately have to do is to replace this part, unless you want to try to MacGyver DIY something on the inside, maybe some sort of epoxy resin or something in order to hold tighter. But even that will eventually rub off. So the main idea would be to replace this part, either by contacting Thule or by perhaps going to a 3D printing service. So once you have replaced that part, it's just a matter of putting it all back together again. Just slide it in tightly, and then the lock washer, just open it up and fit it into the groove on the top of that axle until you can tell that it locks. Then you just screw that top panel back in place. But in any case, that's how you deal with loose issues on the Thule or Thule Urban Glide, either that the fork of the front wheel is loose or that the wheel is loose within the fork. We hope that this video has been useful to you, and if it has been, we ask you to subscribe as it helps us continue making videos in the future. Thank you.